We're going to hear from Seyed Sajjadi. So Seyed was a former student of mine here at CSUN, and he's now a technologist, an entrepreneur, and CEO of nFlux AI. It's a company that he founded in 2019 out of JPL. And nFlux AI has raised over $11 million from the VCs and has customers ranging from the DoD, NASA, Airbus, Jeep, and has operations over 8 different countries. And before starting nFlux, Seyed worked for 2 years at NASA JPL on many different NASA missions, including the Europa Clipper. Yeah, that was just launched a few weeks ago. It's like super exciting, right? And when he was an undergraduate student here, he was in my research lab, and he led a project and oversaw 90+ students from engineering and social science, like psychology. We have anthropology students on a project. And that project was about building a search and rescue system for firefighters with AI. And Seyed last year was named fourth 30 under 30. Yeah, so I'm just, extremely proud, and clearly, as an educator, that's all you're gonna ever wish for, right? So with that, please help me welcome Seyed.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ho, and thank you everyone for being here. Always great to be on campus. CSUN, I have so many great memories from this campus, and believe it or not, I've been on this campus for I think more than 8 years, and this is my first time here, and it's beautiful, and I love it. So welcome, everyone. I want to share some of the lessons that I learned the hard way. So in case there are some of you that are thinking about going through that journey right now, hopefully you'll leave with less battle scars and less gray hair. So about 5 years ago, 2019, 2020, nFlux started April 2019, and at that time we had a contract with the US Air Force, Warner Robins, and we were helping them use AI and computer vision to fix airplanes. So Warner Robins fixes a lot of the military planes, and we were using cameras, you can imagine, installed on glasses or elsewhere, so that technicians can fix the planes. At the same time, we had a contract with NBC Universal, and we were using AI to do contextual advertising, which is, if you see a wedding scene in a movie, right after that there would be a Swarovski jewelry. So that would be contextual advertising. 2 different universes, really, and 2 very different customers. And the mistake that I made was, being an engineer, I was very obsessed and fascinated by the complexity of the solution. And that was a very expensive mistake. So after lots of interventions by our investors, some friendly interventions and some not so friendly interventions, we decided to leverage those engagements along with other interviews that we were conducting with customers to instead learn which market we want to focus on. Were we going to be a provider to the Department of Defense and manufacturers, or were we going to focus on media and entertainment? We conducted more than 300 interviews with astronauts, manufacturers, security providers, and enterprises. And we learned that manufacturing is a place that we can offer the most value to the end user. And it was also an area that the entire team was really passionate about. So the lesson that I wanted to share is, fall in love with the problem and not the solution. And that's something that I've been guilty of myself, and especially builders and engineers tend to do that. But if you really want to create value, you got to find the right problem and not be so obsessed to the solution, because realistically, solution is going to change over time. And then the second one is very related to that, and that is, you want to optimize for experimentation. At those early days, if you're building a deep tech company, you really are not sure what the technical feasibility is. Maybe the new AI is not capable of solving autonomous cars overnight. Maybe it is. At the same time, you want to see if there's market demand for what you're building. So try to optimize for experimentation. This is technical experimentation to see what's feasible and what's possible. It's also go-to-market and market demand experimentation, so you can see if there's a real demand for what you're building. And the last thing that's also very important is, and it's somewhat counterintuitive, you don't want to sell at the beginning. The job of the founder is to learn. It's very similar to optimizing for experimentation. What I mean by not selling and learning is, at those early days, you want to book meetings with stakeholders, potential customers, individuals that know about your field, but you'll just send them a message saying, hey, I want to pick your brain on X, Y, Z. And instead of saying, hey, I have this great product that I want to share with you, because the moment you start selling, the guards go up, right? So a great framework, just talking pragmatically, that I've learned is shared by Steve Blank's book, The 4 Steps to the Epiphany. He talks about different ways that customer development can happen. And one way that I found to implement that was a simple table that has 3 columns. So column number 1 is talking about the problem, the way that you understand it. Let's say if I'm talking to someone in manufacturing, I would say, quality control seems to be a problem. And if I'm talking to someone in that field, I would try to see if that's true or false without biasing them, which is really hard. So is it true that quality inspection is a problem? If so, have you felt it? How expensive is it? How often do you encounter issues in that area? So that's the very first column, the problem. The second one is existing solutions. What are the different ways that you have currently that lets you control the quality on the shop floor? Again, going back to the manufacturing example. And you want to just learn. The whole idea is 30 minutes, maximize for learning, maximize for understanding if the problem that you're solving is real, and maximize for understanding the solutions that are in the market. And then only when you've covered the existing problem and also have a very good understanding of the existing solutions, you'll go to the third column, which is, now, given that you're using solution X, for instance, which is you take pictures from the final products once they're assembled, I think maybe there can be a more effective way of doing it. And what if you could have AI that could look at someone assembling the engine of Jeep, let's say, or the elevator wing of a Airbus A320, and in real time provide that quality inspection. Do you think that'll help with that quality inspection problem? So that very simple table works wonders and magic. And I've used this to interview astronauts to understand the issues and the problems that they had during spacewalks. I've also used the same exact framework to talk with operational excellence executives from different factories to understand what are the challenges and hurdles that they work with. So another last piece that I wanted to cover is the value of focus. In early days, we wanted to make everyone happy. NBC Universal, you want to have contextual advertising? Yes, our AI can do that. Air Force Base, you want to use AI to help with the rigging and the maintenance of the planes in Georgia? Totally, we can do that. And as interesting and ambitious that is, you'll end up with having very different product roadmaps, which is really hard to execute, if not impossible, with very limited funding. So what you want to do is focus on finding a niche market. So an area that you can add the most value and ideally with least amount of competitors. Not only that'll help you have a very focused product roadmap, but also from a go-to-market strategy and the value that your go-to-market will receive, you'll end up having significantly higher momentum. So For instance, in our case, if car manufacturer X goes to the factory of their competitors or see it in the news or a white paper that they've adopted AI on the shop floor and they have reduced the cost of quality and training by 30%, they don't want to lose to the competitor. And as a result, that creates this momentum that is very helpful for the go-to-market. So thank you all. I hope this was helpful. Best of luck with the journeys. And thank you so much for listening.